That's fine. All right, three, two, one. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and the girls, welcome to episode 1 of the Ringcast. On tonight's show, we're talking about the One Ring, some new Lord of the Rings collectibles, and more. We're joined by Skippy, Pete from OFAC, and Danikin Lee Walker.
Michael Banden.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Awesome.
Yeah, good.
Thank you for this
Skippy,
opportunity.
yeah, no problem. Skippy, tell me how did you enter Middle Earth?
How did I enter Middle Earth? Well, I entered early on at a very young age, watching the cartoons from the 70s and the 80s, and I had them on VHS. And then I was right at that ripe young age of manhood when the Peter Jackson trilogy came out. So I was able to drive myself and sit my lonely self in the theaters, and their opening night for all three movies. And the love's been there ever since.
Love it. My first experience with Lord of the Rings was in middle school. We had this book that had like excerpts of all kinds of books, like real important books. And my first ever experience was reading The Hobbit, the Riddles in the Dark chapter, and was really blown away by it. We started watching the movies. Unfortunately, I think I saw The Fellowship in theaters, but I didn't see the other ones. We didn't really have like theater money back then. But we got them on DVD, and I've always kind of been a fan. When I moved back to San Antonio from Arizona, my uncle was a huge fan, and so he was disabled, so I'd go to his house all the time, and we'd watch the trilogy, the extended cut trilogy, a few times throughout the years, and I never did watch The Hobbit with him, but still, like when he passed away a few years ago, I was bequeathed his set of the Blu-rays, and it's a very, very important possession of mine. So I would say I've probably been a Lord of the Rings guy probably since like 10 or 11, like 6th grade, 5th grade. So it's been a while. What about you, Pete?
Yeah, similar. I mean, I'm a bit older than you guys, so I probably read The Hobbit many, many times, probably from about 7, something like that. I was always a little bit wary of the Lord of the Rings because obviously the size of the books and bits and pieces. But I think I eventually bought the 3 books, which is what I'm reading now, when I was about 11, so they're about 35 years old. Absolutely loved it. I found it bit hard going to start with all the Tom Bombadil and bits and pieces, but I think once you can
Dude,
get through
those
that,
chapters were so. It took me like literally 4 days to get through the Tom
yeah,
Bombadil
and
shit.
it's quite off-putting because you just think, you know. But anyway, so I
He
enjoyed
was
those.
he was Jar Jar Binks before Jar Jar Binks.
Dude, you
Yeah,
are not
definitely.
lying,
Yeah.
bro.
Enjoyed those. Had some friends at school that were into it, and we used to write in the runes and all that kind of thing. I remember the cartoon, the 1978 one. It was okay. It's all we had from that sort of medium. And then obviously the build up to the films. I was just like so excited to see somebody finally, going to realise this. And we made a big thing of it, friends and I, when we went up to the IMAX in London. And we watched them all on the big IMAX screen, and somebody comes in and introduces it and everything, and they were just incredible, absolutely amazing. And I've done the extended trilogy 2 or 3 times now. 13 hours just straight through.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just absolutely love them. Yeah, and obviously for this podcast, I've started to reread the books again, and yeah, enjoying those, anew again. So yeah, I absolutely love the source material.
Danny?
I found my way to Middle Earth first from the movies. Like when I was younger, I knew of the book, but I never read it. Mm-hmm. No one that I knew read it either, but I knew of them. But it wasn't until the Fellowship came out, and oh man, I instantly fell in love with the world. I mean the world of the Tolkien world, and all the characters, and Like I just remember like during that time, like there were like a lot of like trilogy type movies going on. Like there were Matrix, X-Men, the Star Wars
prequels.
prequels.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
I remember
And
going
never,
in-
yeah, never there was a fantasy epic if you think about
Yeah.
it. There's a couple of Arthur movies, but never a trilogy. Sorry to cut you
So-
off, Danny. Go ahead.
No, it was like I went in like anticipating Star Wars was gonna be my favorite, but it ended up being Lord of the Rings was my favorite trilogy out of all those. So,
Yeah.
It's high praise.
yeah. So ever since
Right
that,
now-
just started, you know, whenever the DVDs came out, bought those, then sold those for, oh my God, there's an extended version. There's even more. Went for
owned every
those.
version, I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
So they got me, and then bought some books. Started like looking into like the history a little bit. I never still read the books, but I was always looking on like YouTube for, you know, like the history of characters, like the swords and all that stuff. And yeah, a lot of passion for it.
If you
And
guys
just
haven't
recently-
watched the 4K Blu-rays yet, you need to.
Yeah.
I haven't, and I need to watch them ASAP.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And I keep
Are they
seeing
the
a-
extended cut in 4K?
Yeah.
I keep seeing the Steelbook is like on sale for like $100, so it's hard for me.
Yeah, I
picked
saw
that
those
up,
too.
and the
Not
Hobbit
to
one as
rebuy
well.
fifth time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Looks so good.
right now, I'm in the process of getting my daughter into the whole Lord of the Rings stuff. We read The Hobbit. I tried reading the book to her, but she's 4, and
Yeah.
I would say that's probably like a story. Like if you're reading the book, for maybe like a kid that's like, you know, 6, 7,
7,
8.
8.
Yeah. But we started reading the comic adaptation, and she loves it, right? Beginning to end, every night. Like, she's the type of kid that won't let you pick a picture book or like a book. Every night, Dad, can we read the Wizard book? And so we finished it, and then we watched the original animated Hobbit, which Gollum in that movie is fucking horrifying. And she did not. She was like, "Dad, this scene is taking so long." I was like, "You are not wrong. This scene is taking fucking forever." And then the next thing I'm going to show her is something we'll probably either talk about later today or in the future. The fan edit of the Hobbit movie. So it takes about 13 hours of films and cuts it down to 4 hours 10 minutes. I know Pete's already got a chance to watch it, and Mark has also, and I think you
Yeah.
guys are pretty impressed, at least
Yeah.
you know, by
Oh,
the
it's
quality.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So maybe one day we'll have to do a whole episode on that, and maybe we can see if we can get in
Yeah.
touch with the guy that made it.
Yeah.
But I would
Yeah, but
say
did-
for me,
did they cut out like the battle scenes and stuff like that?
I haven't finished it yet, but they basically cut out like Legolas and like a lot of the
Yeah, they
love
kind
triangle
of-
stuff.
They kind of cut out anything that didn't have Bilbo directly involved, which is how they
Oh,
got
okay.
Basically anything that wasn't in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that animated Hobbit film was interesting.
I loved it when I was a kid. It's just you can't. I mean, as an adult, it doesn't hold up at all.
Yeah, I would say my favorite part now though is the extended trilogy, the original. It's fantastic. Let's talk about what the show is going to be about. Mark, what are we going to be focusing on for the Ringcast?
Well, we're going to be focusing on the Third Age, which is towards the end of the Third Age is when the trilogy happens. So it's the lead up to the Lord of the Rings. It's pretty much the whole time that the ring is, the ring is ripped from Sauron's hands, from when it gets into Gollum's hands, and so on and so forth. So pretty much from the beginning of the ring to the end of the ring. Hence the One Ring
Yeah.
podcast. So we'll be touching on stuff like the Silmarillion, the Untold Tales, and stuff like that. But we won't go too Elvish,
Man,
names
look at
hard to
those-
pronounce.
Look at those
because,
crazy ass covers. They got to be from like the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, this motherfucker was on acid when he was drawing these.
Oh, definitely.
Um,
So then
we-
but then they're also coming out with the shows on Amazon. They're coming out with 2 separate shows, which the information on that stuff's been all around the place, and people have been super negative. And I'm not going to be into that. I'm going to wait till we see a trailer, and then I'll start reacting to stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to what they
So-
put out.
But that's
We're also-
really
We're also
I'm-
going to do character-specific episodes So that'll be something like, I think we planned on doing an episode on Gandalf and
Gandalf's the next
Gollum
episode.
and Bilbo and Frodo, like all the major players in the story. Obviously focusing on the movies as well. So I think one thing we'll talk about is like different versions of the movies, so fan edits, like the difference between extended and theatrical, and then like books, different releases of the books, different because even like The Hobbit was changed in the 30s quite
right
significantly.
Right after, to add all the stuff about, they put Saruman in there, and and then the importance of the ring was not in there. And I've been trying to do a little research on that, but I haven't gotten quite there yet. But it's amazing how different the book is of The Hobbit from the first version.
Yeah, so we'll talk about all those, and then of course collectibles. There's so many Lord of the Rings collectibles, games, different collectible editions of the books and the movies. I think we mentioned steelbooks earlier. You could probably spend entire episodes on just different lines from different companies like Sideshow, Weta. These are by Eagle Moss. There's also the I think they're Toy Biz from back in the early 2000s in the movies. So
The 6-inch
I
lines.
had those toy business.
I still have them. I have a couple handfuls.
you have to let me know how the Gandalf the White is. There's one guy selling one in San Antonio, and I'm tempted, but I don't know about that.
So the horses and stuff like that, some of those are really good. They have too much of the action features with the karate chop.
Yeah.
But the sculpts are good, the paint's messy.
Yeah.
So, but we'll talk about that at some point.
Okay, so let's start with our first topic for today. It's the Lord of the Rings, the Gollum video game, and we're gonna pull up the kind of like the introductory trailer for the game. We'll watch that and we'll discuss it.
I'm Harold Riegler, producer at Daedalic Entertainment, and today I'm happy to reveal some exciting details about our upcoming game, The Lord of the Rings, Gollum. Gollum has always fascinated us. While being completely essential to the story written by J.R.R. Tolkien, Gollum's long chase for his precious ring has never been told in detail. Yet his incredible journey from Mordor through Mirkwood to the mines of Moria takes players to places they haven't seen like this before, while setting the stage for events that will ultimately decide the fate of all of Middle-earth. Gollum has pretty much traveled everywhere. He's also pretty much met everyone, and by looking at events from his angle, players will experience Middle-earth through the eyes and twisted mind of one of the most iconic characters of all time. All of that in our very own artistic style. From his time in the slave pits of the Dark Tower to his stay with the Elves of Mirkwood, Gollum will creep, sneak, and trick his way past faithful, detailed environments, some of which have never been seen before in such detail. The Lord of the Rings Gollum is a cinematic stealth action adventure. It mixes stealth and parkour gameplay and really leverages Daedalic's expertise in crafting engaging stories. Gollum is no traditional hero. He's learned not to take any sides other than his own, and some of the most powerful beings in Middle-earth want him either captive or dead. In the game, you will meet some iconic characters, but also interesting personalities less known to players, but nonetheless essential to the events unfolding. We've been highly faithful to the descriptions in the books, depicting, for instance, the Moth of Sauron, the Lieutenant of Barad-dûr, who is constantly scheming on behalf of his Dark Lord.
Wow.
In the game, we will see his face for the first time, but also Thranduil, King of the Elves of Mirkwood, father of Legolas, and last but not least, Gandalf the Wizard. We're all super excited to be working on this amazing project, and we can't wait to show you more. Stay tuned on social media at Gollum Game.
Damn, that looks fucking dope.
So what do you think, Zach?
I'm fucking super excited. I'm really glad. Like, there's kind of like that transition period for games, like when the new console comes out, where they'll make games for like the last gen. Because I don't have a PS5 or an Xbox, whatever. I don't know what the fuck they call it.
Yeah.
But I do have an Xbox One. I do have a gaming PC. So I'm excited to be able to play this on those. It really reminds me almost of like Uncharted. Like that, like kind of puzzle solving, like exploration type game.
Yeah, games like The Last Guardian and stuff like that,
yeah.
or even
So is this like open world gameplay type?
I think it's kind of like you kind of go in an area and you have to get from point A to point B, however you see fit. I do not believe it's open world, but I'm super stoked for it. I actually cannot wait to play this. This looks pretty dope. I
Yeah,
know
I
there's
mean-
some other Middle Earth games, but they're more like, with characters that we're not that familiar with. But Gollum is like, top 5, right? He's like one of the big ones. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have told me they were going to make a Gollum game, I would have thought, like, what the hell are you
Yeah.
doing? But then, I mean, I play plenty of games where it's like that puzzle type game with the Last Guardian or Shadow of the Colossus. Games that aren't, you don't think of them as like a puzzle strategy, but that's what it is. I really like the art style. If you look at the characters when they talk about Gandalf, that kind of stuff interests me. I hope they don't just add a bunch of random characters you never heard of. I would like to see some guys from the books, you know what I mean, that aren't in
Yeah.
the movies. But I mean, there's so few Lord of the Rings games coming out. They're all MMORPG or I want a big open world game, and I know this isn't it, but this is once I saw the trailer, I was way more excited than when I just heard Gollum game. I didn't know what the hell to think, but I'm really excited with this actually. So I'll be getting it.
So do we know what platforms this is on?
I think it's on all platforms as far as PC, PlayStation 5, 4,
Okay.
Xbox, whatever whatever the new system in the
Let
last
me-
system.
Last gen.
Confirm. It's
kind
on.
of-
It's in fall 2022 on PC, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X/S, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
Oh, and
So
Nintendo
I mean,
Switch.
pretty much
Yeah.
everything.
I might actually get this on Nintendo Switch then, to be honest, so I can play it on the go.
The comments on the video says, "Can't wait to press X for biting off Frodo's finger." Another guy says, "Can finally play a crackhead's life sword."
But this won't link up to the Fellowship, right? This is all prior.
It doesn't
say. That would
But
be
if it's
cool though.
the-
If you went from like right up until the end, that would be fucking awesome.
Oh, you'd have to. I mean, what are you going to do? Make a Gollum 2? I mean, for a
I'm
side
kinda,
character, you have to tell his whole story from beginning to end.
I'm kind of hoping it just ends before Fellowship.
Is it one of those things where your mom turned Bambi off towards the end?
No,
Or not, I guess towards the beginning. It'd be Old Yeller.
I mean I kind of like the idea of like
He gets
'Cause-
resurrected? Or maybe they'll have
he's not
alternate
resurrected,
endings.
but like you it's going through his journey, looking for
Yeah.
the ring, I guess. And there was also like I guess didn't Sauron release him so they can follow him to the ring?
I would love to
Yes.
see that explained in this
Yes.
game though, because
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. They're like, "Okay, bye." Tortured you
Yeah.
for like until you told us what you wanted. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he lost him. I mean, he got lost by the elves too, though.
It's true.
So this could
But
be
he-
actually like a in between Hobbit and Fellowship, like a
And,
Exactly.
Yeah, and I also wonder whether it's going to start out as him being Smeagol, and kind of like you
Press
start
X
to turn
kill
dark.
Deagle.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. For anybody who hasn't watched it.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
talk
I
about
mean-
that later.
So, or even if you start, I don't. There's so many things you don't know. I mean, it only shows him as Gollum, so. But
Pete, would you play this?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'd probably play it with my son. We've got a PS5 that we're giving him to him for his birthday in September. So
Wow. My birthday's in June, Pete. Just kidding. Pete, did y'all play the Lego Lord of the Rings or the Lego Hobbit? with your son?
yeah. We've got. I think we've got the Lego Hobbit. I played the Lord of the Rings ones back when they first came out.
Yeah, they're on
I really
Steam. I
enjoyed
just
them.
downloaded it. I haven't
Yeah.
finished it yet, though. It's pretty fun, though.
I think most of the I've played a lot of the Lego games, and they're all really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're good fun. Yeah.
Let's move on. Our next thing is the Asmus 8-inch line Balrog. 109 releasing December 2021. You can get it directly from Asmus or through Big Bad Toy Store. This is it's pretty dope, I'm not gonna lie. Balrog stuff is really expensive. Like the old Gentle Giant busts, like the old NECA figure is like
Yeah.
$400. The old Weta statue is like pretty much unattainable. I'm not a big fan of the size. I think if this was 18 inches, I'd be all over
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
8 inches tall when every other figure is also 8 inches tall. isn't super great. I think it peaks to 11 at the tip of the wings and the tip of the flame. But the sculpting looks great. There's some very limited articulation in the wrists and the head, and I think maybe just a little bit in the waist. It's basically a 5 POA statue. But for $109, I mean, you really can't go wrong. I'd love to see if they do a swap out for the sword instead of just the whip. Mark, what do you think about this?
I thought I saw the sword in this one.
Is that of the
I'm going to go check
Prime
right
one?
now.
Or that might have been the Prime 1 Studio statue. But like you said, they call it the 8-inch scale. Well, if it's 8-inch scale, he should be, 16 to 18
At
inches
least
at least.
16.
I mean, and that's to the top of his head. So that would make the flame 24.
Probably.
So
yeah.
the problem is he's not in scale with anything unless you were to get like a small figurine like an Eagle Moss or something like that. But even that stuff's like, I don't know.
I think the
4 or
only
5
thing that would
inches?
scale well with this is like the old Lord of the Rings miniatures because they're maybe about 1.25 inches.
Yeah.
I think
You
that'd
mean
be
the
about perfect size.
Workshop
like the
ones.
strategy game ones?
No. From Games Workshop, they make.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
yeah,
actually
yeah,
do make
yeah.
a Balrog in that line,
They make the
but they
guy.
also.
They're about
yeah,
what, 2
Gandalf.
inches?
Yeah, probably
1
about.
and a half, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
think
mean
in,
that
in
might
the
work.
movies, the Gandalf goes up to like his kneecap.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the books it says or I forget which book it was, but he says he's two men tall, and then a lot of the men in those books are 6'4". Towards the end of the Numenorian bloodline. So I mean, I should put him at 13 feet. So I mean, that's even small. But of course, the movie's gonna make it bigger, and it looks
Yeah.
awesome in the movie. I'd rather have the movie scale, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Especially
in
going
the
with the
movie,
movie design.
yeah, in a movie scale, he looks about. I mean, of course, he's crouched over, but he looks about 3 times the size.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about 8-inch scale, he should be 24 inches to the head. And what's that make it? 28-ish inches to the
Yeah.
top of the flame.
Yeah.
So that's the only hard part. But again, it's the price point's not that bad, especially if you order from Asmus. You don't pay taxes and it's free shipping. So
Yeah.
I actually have this on order right now. So
Oh wow,
Same.
yeah,
nice.
because it looks too cool. I mean, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get
Yeah.
it, Pete?
No, only because I can't deal with the scale of it, and it's got to sit on its own, hasn't it? It's a shame. I mean, we'll look at it. I love that Prime 1 piece, but
Me
I'm
too.
Not paying. I'm not paying for that.
Me
But
too.
that's got a very nicely scaled Gandalf with it.
Yeah, if
What
money
about
was
you,
no
Danny? Are you
money was
gonna-
no option.
Yeah.
This one, I think this looks great. But yeah, I mean, I'm more. I guess my collectibles, I'm focusing more on the heroes. So, but like I've also seen the Prime one, which we'll be looking at later, and like I feel like if I'm getting a Balrog, I'm gonna do what I can to make that happen.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's gonna happen.
Let's move on. This is the Prime one that Danny was talking about.
Yeah.
This one comes in at $1,300, releasing Q4
That's within your budget,
2021.
Danny.
Well, $12.99. That's the story I'm gonna
You
tell
said
my wife.
2K was good, Danny.
Yeah.
That's right, but
So are
Space
any of you
too.
guys gonna get this?
Oh, I'd love to. but-
I am thinking about selling my my Rogue premium format statue to get this.
Holy shit, dude!
Wow.
I'm gonna
That's
live
because-
vicariously through you, bro.
Yeah, because
too.
you figure this is
Yeah.
$12.99, but if you get it from Big Bad Toy Store, you're only paying $4 shipping.
That's gonna be.
you
That's
gotta.
gonna help a lot.
That Dol Guldur, if you look at the bridge, it's so cool how they have like the knight
It's like standing.
in the wall because it kind of shows how the dwarves sculpted. It's just
Yeah.
got so much more to it. And I've seen the light up. Some light up features they touch up the photos so much and it looks ridiculous. But we all saw the one where somebody had received it and they turned it on and then they just turned their light off.
Yeah.
And I mean it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was breathtaking. And I never see that in statues. Even statues, they all look impressive online, and
Yeah.
when you get them, they're always a little bit bigger or whatever than you think, But the price points are always crazy. I mean, I've seen plenty of statues like this where it's like it's $3,000 and I just don't know where the money comes from. But for me, $12.99, and I see this, I see the impressiveness, I see why, I see the price
Yeah.
when I look at this, and
Yeah,
I don't
this
see that
is-
in a lot of statues.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
This is
I
like
love-
a true centerpiece.
Yeah, for real. I love the way that the bridge kind of like goes into the space. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not supported by anything. I think that's
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. Definitely the centerpiece is the Balrog. It would have been nice to have like a second Gandalf so that you could do the "You shall not pass" pose.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the exclusive. Don't get me wrong. I believe it's the whip, right?
Yeah, the whip. But
Yeah,
the whip
so-
doesn't. The whip doesn't light up though. That's the only thing
Yeah.
that
Right.
that kind of sucked about that.
It would be hard though to get it in that shape, but god damn, this thing looks fucking
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
If tomorrow I won the lottery, this is 100%
Yeah,
what I would
definitely.
do.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd buy one for
100%.
all of you
Well,
guys.
too. And so,
Ah.
and,
Oh yeah, dude. Go
and
buy a
some-
ticket, Danny.
Some people that collect statues, they'll collect. Let's say, talking about the Rogue, you'll collect in an X-Men line, so you got to collect 10 figures. Well, this is a complete set here. You
Yeah.
don't need anything
No.
else. Nothing else goes with this.
That's how I see it.
This
too,
is
yeah.
one
Yeah.
complete set. It's one
Yeah.
purchase. You don't have to worry about getting anything else, other than trying to keep the dust off.
Yeah.
God
You know?
damn. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
Infinity
beautiful, it's hard to look at.
Yeah, Infinity Studios this week showed off Legolas in half scale and also Gandalf, though I'm a bit confused. It seems like the Gandalf would be half scale, but a lot of people are saying it's third scale, which doesn't make any sense.
Well,
This is Gandalf.
Sideshow said 1/3 on their advertising.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. This
Yeah.
is the Gandalf from the "You Shall Not Pass" scene, and both of these look absolutely stunning. They're
It could be
probably
possibly this Legolas is 1/3.
And
Yeah.
I kept looking for actual measurements because you can tell me scale all you want, but I want to know how big it actually is. I can do the math myself. So, but I didn't see any of that.
yeah. I think
on
we'll
any of
probably
this.
get them.
Soon,
We'll probably get the
hopefully.
measurements once it goes up for pre-order.
But the
these
hair on it looks fantastic. On the
probably
on
gonna be
the
very
Gandalf.
expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking forward to the price tag on these. And
No.
I'll be honest, I love this scene, but I don't like the pose. And I know this is exactly from the movie, but I kind of like once he kind of stamps the
Touches
ground
it
with the
down.
staff. Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
This is cool, but
Mm-hmm.
it kind of like I don't know, just
Especially at that
I
point,
don't
his
love it.
staff is all lit up. So it would
Yeah.
be cool to have his staff lower so it'd make his face glow.
I actually really like, of all the Gandalf statues, the one that's kind of like my grow at the moment is the Gandalf the Grey premium format, because he's in the Mines of Moria, and he's like there's stairs in the background, and he's holding the staff up, and it just looks like such a beautiful like
Yeah, I want
piece. That's my grill right now. This is great, but honestly, I'd rather spend $600-700 on that than probably like the $2 or $3 this is gonna cost. So, at least just for me. And then yesterday, Weta, for day 2 of their kind of like summer showcase, they showed their 1/6 scale Sauron. This one comes in at $9.99, releasing Q2 2022. This is an open edition statue, and it is basically however many orders they get that will decide the edition size. So the edition size is finalized August 5th, 2021. So you have about, we're filming today on the 24th of July, so probably about 2.5 weeks. But holy shit, this thing is fucking beautiful. You get the underglow. There's a light up feature on the base. You get 2 different swap out hands, one with the Ring of Power and the mace, the other from the deleted scene from Return of the King where he fights Aragorn at the Black Gate with the sword. And this thing just looks stunning. I think it's like 26 inches tall from the base to the top of the helmet, 1/6 scale. Pete, you were saying you might be considering this?
Yeah, I'm tempted. I was just having a look before we came on, and it's 762 pounds, British pounds, with about £14 shipping, so that's good. But because the UK has left Europe with the whole Brexit bullshit, then potentially I'd face about 25% on top of that, with taxes and
Jesus.
stuff.
Oh my
so
goodness.
it pushes that to what, £1,000 then. So
So who charges the 25%? Not getting into politics.
UK government, yeah, the Queen,
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
Gotta pay for that baby, bro.
it's 20% value added tax, and then I think there's an additional 5 or 6% tax because we're not in Europe now. It was meant to be a good thing.
Jesus.
I didn't vote for it, and
There you go, Pete.
for somebody that buys collectibles from abroad, it's a killer really because now everywhere is abroad. And
Oh fuck yeah, you're right.
Man, that's why we got out 250 years ago. They wanted
Yeah.
to tax our tea,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, you did the right. You did the right
Ridiculous.
thing. I can't blame you.
The original Brexit, baby.
I think we're the most taxed country in the whole world. It's ridiculous.
Ironic. Ironic.
Yeah.
Sorry to laugh at that.
No.
Danny, is this a pickup for you, bro?
I think this looks amazing again, but like I said earlier, I'm trying to focus more on, I guess, the heroes for like my collection that I want to
Gotcha.
do. But yeah, this looks. If I had more space, I would consider this.
Huge piece. Anything over 23 inches tall
Yeah.
is a bitch to display. That Gandalf
Yeah.
is like 23 and a half, and that motherfucker, it's so hard to find a space for him. I had to basically almost
they
take
make-
up half my cabinet.
They make ring race also.
Well, speaking of ring rates, Weta's also debuted yesterday a new Masters collection. So they have Treebeard, Gandalf with Frodo on the cart. They also have, I believe, Thranduil on his throne, and Gollum. So I think this is the 5th Masters collection. It's the Nazgul, the horse, and the 4 hobbits from the Fellowship scene where Frodo's tempted to put the ring on when they're leaving the Shire. And this looks friggin' insane, this diorama.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful. There's no price yet or edition size that's been set, and it has not gone up for pre-order yet. I think it's still kind of like pending approval. But they announced this yesterday during their convention season as being the next Masters collection figure, or I guess collectible set. What do you guys think about it?
This is another one of those where once you buy one, you have the complete set, and it looks really awesome. I mean, Frodo has a little bit of that like taking a shit face,
Yeah, that's what I was.
but that is completely
It's
completely
accurate,
matches
though.
him. It completely
Yeah.
it's so accurate. I mean, for Weta, for as far as face and paint goes, I mean that is so impressive. I don't know how big the actual hobbits are, but I mean for Weta, the face sculpts are perfect, but the whole scenery, the sculpt, all that stuff, this is a great diorama. And I think it's really cool. I want to find out what the price point is and stuff like that.
Now these sell out very fast. I
yeah, I
think
was
the
gonna say-
Treebeard sold out like in a few minutes when it went up, and that
Oh,
Treebeard's
wow.
like an absolute grail. It's huge, like 36 inches tall. They sell out very fast, and the resale market on them is ridiculous. I was looking at the Gandalf with Frodo in the cart, one of my favorite scenes of the entire trilogy. The resale is like anywhere from 3,000 to 4,500. So,
It's crazy.
How much was the original for that?
let me see if I think on Weta it just says sold out, so it doesn't tell you the price, but I think it was
It's like
12 to 1,500, I think.
yeah, and it
don't
wasn't
quote me on
that
that.
long ago, was it?
Like what
It's
scale
Like
was
5
that?
years ago.
Was
I think
that
it's
one?
1/6 scale.
Oh, okay.
Oh, 1/6
it's-
scale. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
that
no
one.
way.
That one.
Big.
That was an amazing piece too. Yeah, I thought.
That's
Yeah,
1/6. There's
Frodo.
no way I could afford that. So there's no reason for for me to look too much into it.
Yeah. Mark, you got some recent pickups. Let's get into collector showcase. What did you get recently for Lord of the Rings?
Okay, I got this Sting from Cutlery.
United
something.
Cutlery.
United Cutlery.
United Cutlery, yeah. And I got it in a partial trade sale to Sean Yahtzee,
was
where I
beautiful.
traded him a old man Obi-Wan, and he gave me cash considerations and Sting. And when I first got this, I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! I'm gonna hang it up on the wall." And then for like 3 days, I've been swinging it around, and I'm so glad I have not hit nothing yet. I've stabbed myself once. Very little bit of blood was drawn.
Oh my god!
But it is so exciting, and it made me start looking at some of the other stuff. But all there, I mean, it's just like anything else. You gotta count shipping and stuff like that. But man, I love it. It feels heavy. It's stiff. I don't actually know what it's made out of. It feels kind of like very much like a stainless. You flick it in, it pings nice, but the whole, it's all one piece. It's not like it has a wood handle or anything like that, but it feels very exotic, feels very elvish, and I mean I absolutely love it. I mean obviously it's a Hobbit sword, so it's not that long. So I just
Wow.
Yeah, that's
was
that's
walking
great.
door to door swinging it around, so
I've
it was
got
cool.
I've got Strider's Ranger sword.
Yeah.
And I've got Andriel. Andriel is fucking massive. It's a fair bit longer than the Strider sword, and the weight of it is just like you read about how when knights in medieval times and stuff, they used to train all their lives, and their upper body strength was huge to wield these swords. And when you pick that up, you know that you would have had to be very strong to swing that around for more than a couple of minutes.
Yeah, you couldn't imagine fighting more than 1 or 2 people at
No,
that point.
no,
You just
definitely
lay
not.
down and play dead.
Yeah, and I used to have the scabbard for Andrew as well, but I sold that on because you're not going to display it in that because you'd lose half of the beauty of the sword. But yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
I'd love to get a Glamdring. I've looked at Glamdring a few times.
That's my next purchase, I think.
yeah.
I'm like chomping at the bit. It's only like
Yeah.
$200 on Amazon.
But will you get the white one or the blue one?
I think only one I can find on Amazon is the blue one rather.
Yeah.
Let me check. But I mean, I like the blue one because the blue one's in Hobbit
Yeah.
trilogy, and then
Yeah,
also
I'd get blue.
in.
Blue to me is
Plus, I mean, if I really wanted to, depending on what the wrap is made, I think it's made out of leather. I think you could probably plasti dip it
Yeah.
white and then
Yeah,
just
it's
peel it
leather.
off if you don't
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
It's $2.15. I need it so bad. I told Victoria, I was like, babe, if there's ever a time you're feeling generous, that I deserve a gift, I would love this. And then Mark, you also got what else do you get?
I also got the Asmus Frodo. He came in pretty fast. I ordered him on the 9th, and he came in, I think, the 18th, so he came in less than a week. And then I also ordered the Gimli, and that's somewhere in California right now.
Gimi's amazing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
this
so
is still what they call a slim release. Yeah,
it's a slim
they're-
release. So
yeah.
everything about it, I absolutely love. I was super impressed. The chain on the ring is a little bit long.
Yeah.
Where we at here? The chain, but the tailoring is fantastic. And if you look at the promo pics, it has like really long hair on his feet. But I actually think the hair they put on the feet is on the one I got looks a lot more accurate
Yeah.
and less
How's the-
disgusting.
How's the paint on the head sculpt? Is it good?
The paint on the head sculpt's real good. The jawline, and you could see it on some of the other promo pics. The jawline goes so wide, and it just I don't know why that is.
Yeah,
but I
they're-
can't. I don't know how
they're-
to edit any of
They're
that.
weird because that face piece is a separate piece. So you kind of
Yeah.
got the head and the face. So you can do so. I mean, you could heat it up quite, gently and squeeze the sides in. Yeah.
Yeah, so I might actually check in on with you to do that. And it's also like the hair is real soft. The sculpt on the hair is good, but like you said, but it's just the jaw is just
Yeah, it's just
a little
because
too wide.
I've got this figure, but I didn't pick it up originally. I've got the slim, and there was a bit of controversy because the original release of the slim, the paint job was really good, and then they
I remember
did a
that,
second batch, and it was really bad. And to this day, that they said they would replace those head sculpts for those people, but to this day they haven't, and they've kind of skirted round the issue of sending out new head sculpts. So if yours is, it's difficult to tell. I mean, if you held it up to the camera, it'd be difficult to tell whether it was
On
you
this
know,
camera, it'd be hard to tell.
But yeah, there's quite a noticeable difference, and you'll find that the price will vary massively on eBay if you've got the right batch or
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't even look into
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I held off so long on buying any of the Asmus Hobbits because, like Merry and Pippin, the outfits, the colors were way off. The head sculpts looked almost cartoonish and
the
awful.
first lot, yeah, because these are the version 2s of the sculpts anyway.
Yeah,
I
so
never
the
bought the
bodies look
originals
some.
because they were horrible. Second batch, the second versions are not perfect, but I think Frodo's good enough. Sam's not too bad. Merry and Pippin are still a bit odd, but I had, I wanted to complete my fellowship, so I did buy
Yeah.
them. But
Plus, you have the customizing ability to futz it in
yeah,
there.
yeah. Although I've not done too much to them, but yeah, no, it's a great figure. Yeah, congrats on that.
Yeah, and the
Sting's
only other
really
thing
nice.
we had talked about it in the group about I was hoping it would come with the Elven brooch.
Yeah, I think it should, but unless
But,
they changed it again.
But you could see it in the picture there. It's not there. But then you had
Yeah.
said that some people have it.
Mine's
that's
they're
got-
like
something-
they're like fuck it. This is a slim version. You get fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless
I'm looking
they've-
into
unless
it.
They've stripped
But-
it down again. I don't know.
But Danny had told me about it. It was an Asmus in stock, and there was only one of them.
Yeah.
And so I got it for 155 shipped. So
Mhm.
for that price, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
It's something I really
Yeah.
wanted.
When's your Gimli due in?
He left California yesterday morning.
Yeah.
So,
'Cause
I'm
again, there's a
hoping-
bit of a lot of people saying that they've changed the chainmail on that.
Oh, really?
For the better, I think.
Oh, I'm
But then,
jealous.
because there's people going, oh, well, can I buy the new chainmail? I mean, I don't care because I made mine a real chainmail shirt. But
Do you have the Aragorn from Helm's Deep?
no, because I've got the ACI Ranger, and I don't want multiples of.
Yeah, you don't
I've
need.
got
multiples
two
of it.
Gandalfs, but one's like Hobbit version. So
You got one hat for me too, right, Pete?
Yeah.
yes, I need. Well, no, I will do the.
No, you
measurements
said
for you.
yes.
No, I will
No, you
measure
said
it
yes.
for you.
yeah. Send me those pictures.
But-
like I said, I don't want
But
Yeah.
like the chainmail on the Aragorn's really good. It just gets tangled up around the sleeve, and it's one of those you like need tweezers to like untie it. But I mean, it looks so good. It's just one of
Yeah,
those things.
but
I'm not good enough at.
They should be making real chainmail, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had this Lego set in my. So I bought this 3 years ago, right, from a used Lego retailer. And when I was moving, I was trying to pack all my collectibles, and the movers like came a day early. They were like just showed up, and I guess they got the days wrong. So I had to like real quick like toss. Basically, they're like, we can come back tomorrow. Or we could do it today, and called the homeowners. They're like, yeah, you guys can move in a day early. It's not a big deal. And I had this set on my TV stand, and I threw it in a box, and it just exploded on the way to the house. And I knew it was roughly complete, but I also knew it could be missing some pieces. So over the last 3 weeks, I basically separated everything, like the different colors and the different sizes, and downloaded the instructions and rebuilt it. I was actually missing like only like 4 pieces, and I fucking love this set. This is the Unexpected Gathering set from the Hobbit movie, and I've kind of added a few pieces to it and kind of modified it just a little bit, but it's super, super fun, and it inspired me to make like a little diorama mock. I'm kind of like in the early stages of the feast at Bilbo's house where they, raid his food and talk about the map and the key. And so I've gone to this like third party Lego store like 4 or 5 times. Like when I went on Friday, I was like, I need to find this key. So I went through like all their tubs and I found one fucking key, and it took like an hour, and my kid helped me find it, but it was totally worth it. And I have one other minifig in the mailbox and one that's not pictured. So I just need one more left to complete the full company. And once I do that, I'll kind of like start filling in the background and stuff like that. So I might need Pete's advice on this because
Who's missing? Balin. Oh no, he's there.
let me see. That's a great question. It's
Can't remember
like
which one it was.
one of the $25 ones. That's just like inconveniently expensive. I think it might be Balin actually. Let me look it up real quick.
It was the who,
You've got a white-haired guy there. He's the only one with white, isn't he?
No,
he's got
it's
Dory,
the guy.
Nori, Ori.
He has the red hair
Biffle.
with the 3 peaks of red hair. Let's see if I can find it real quick. But yeah, I'm missing one. I'm missing one, and it's so freaking annoying. They had the body, the legs, and then the hairpiece, but they didn't have the face print. And the price they wanted, I was like, it's Nori. The price they wanted, I was like, I'm not gonna pay full retail price without the face print, right? Because it's about a $30 Lego minifig. But I'm so friggin' stoked. Like I basically rated. They have like little tubs of like food and little tubs of like plates and shit. And I basically rated their stock for like all these food pieces, and it's just freaking hilarious. So I've also been on a Gandalf kick. My wife pre-ordered the Crown Series Gandalf for me, and I picked up the Sideshow Premium Format Gandalf the White. Got a great deal on it. It had some staining, so I actually got a small refund back, and was able to get those stains out with some clear detergent. And then I picked up the Sideshow / Weta Gandalf on Shadowfax, which is right here. My good friend Jason Nelson came over today, and we started re-sculpting some parts. You can see here on the main, it's just a tiny bit of polystone missing, so we resculpted that. On the other side of the cape, there's a small chip that's broken off. We resculpted that perfectly. The hands on the left staff were damaged, and we were replacing some of those parts. I knew of all this damage when I bought it, so it's not like the seller was disingenuous.
Yeah.
But I got a great price because of the damage. I think this retailed for like $500, and I got it for I think like $230. So definitely a great piece. It's about 6
that
scale.
one? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good size. I mean, I would maybe even say like 5th scale. It almost
Yeah.
looks like that those like Mythos scale. But yeah, we were able to fix all those things this morning.
That's cool.
And then I also picked up the Iron Studios Gandalf. I basically sold a bunch of 6 scale stuff this month because I just been so like down about 6 scale lately. So I picked up the Gandalf, and then I was talking with Mark, and we were both looking at this item. It's a one ring replica, but it's inlaid with like this glow in the dark material, where it's kind of like a watch, where like you could charge the watch surface, and then it glows when you bring it inside. It has like that material on it, and so it glows orange red when you bring it inside. So that's coming from Italy. It's the #1 on Etsy, and I'm excited for that. And hopefully next episode 2 or whenever we'll have some pictures of that in hand.
Do you have to pick a ring size? They do all the
So you
sizes.
did, and I fucked up. I put my ring size, which is fine, but I'm not gonna wear it. But the actual prop that they use, the hero prop, is a certain size 11.
Right.
And I should have ordered size 11. No one will ever know, but I think I'm gonna order a second one in size 11. So if they both come good, and one of y'all want to buy the size 9 off of me,
Yeah.
I'll sell it to you guys for like a pretty good price. But he offers like it's stainless steel, so the Weta one is tungsten plated gold, but it wears down the gold over time. This one is it's stainless steel, but he said it doesn't wear or change colors. So I don't know how much I believe him, but I ended up getting the option with the chain. I think it was like $36, and then shipping was like $8. With tax it was like 45, 47.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a crazy Lord of the Rings week for me, or month rather. Danny, what'd you get? You're on mute, bro.
Sorry. The most recent that I received was the Asmus Archer, which was like a month or 2 ago. And then I've had Elrond, but this is pretty much just a showcase of what I have planned for my display. So I have Elrond currently, and I'm looking for Elven Warrior.
How would you rate Elrond?
Did you-
Is he-
I think Elrond the sculpt is almost there. I'd say like,
Because he's got like a 2-part hair, isn't he? But the top
yeah,
part is sculpted,
Don't-
and then he's got.
that's a little weird. There's also it was like a 2-part neck, like the head and then the neck part
Right.
piece. So it's like 2 pieces. So that's a little kind of like, you know.
Yeah.
Now
yeah,
that
I
you
wasn't
mention it-
sure on him.
Now that you mention it, Danny, they should look into that. Just doing it the head and the neck in the one piece, because that's
Yeah.
also the same problem I have with my Frodo. Because the sculpts there, it's just they have this wide thing,
I
like
have
you're
no-
supposed, like you're turning his head for some reason. It
Yeah,
doesn't
I don't
make
know
any
why
sense.
they made it 2 pieces.
And you actually got the Archer for free, right? Do you want to talk about that? real
Oh,
quick?
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
When Asmus first released their promo shots, they, like you can see right there, they put the Galadriel Lothlorien bowl that the elves used over there. So I PM'd them. I said, hey, you guys got the wrong bow. They're supposed to have the long bow.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, wow. I'm surprised, that we messed it up like that. And then they fixed it. They said they were going to fix it. And then like a day later, they messaged me and said, hey, can we get your address? We'd like to send you a
Dude,
free-
that is such a cool
yeah,
thing.
I wasn't expecting it at all.
I mean, you basically saved them like literally thousands of dollars and a bunch of fucking headache. Like
They
that
still-
is-
A
They
lot
still
of
give-
you save them a lot of emails.
They still gave
Yeah.
you the wrong bow too.
That's
So
cool.
you
well, at
got
that point,
both.
they probably already produced
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
It's probably cheaper
Yeah.
just to give it to you.
So then right after that, I ordered the Elven Warrior from Stevens Collectibles. So I'm waiting for them to get their stock.
How's
So
the
I'm-
material on those? Because some shots it looks really purple, and then on these it
It's
looks quite
it's
blue.
more
is it?
blue.
Yeah.
It's more like royal blue, I guess, but
Mm-hmm.
it's shiny. I thought the whatever that the
The waist girdle.
the waist girdle
Yeah.
that I thought that was like more muted in from the movies, and
Yeah,
I was
it does
surprised
look
how
Really
shiny it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really hard in the movie in the first scene because they have it so saturated. Everything's so grayed out and the colors
Yeah,
pop so
it's
much. I
hard
mean, it
to
looks
tell, isn't it?
fantastic, but then it's
Mhm.
also hard to tell. It's
'Cause I
got a
think
little bit of that
the-
Han Solo, is it gray or is it blue?
Yeah,
effect.
because the wettest statue it's muted,
Right.
so
Muted
Who
like
knows?
it is in the movie. Yeah, who knows what
Yeah.
the actual color is.
Yeah.
so
Again,
probably
I
didn't-
think that's what put me off really because it looks a little bit, as you say, shiny, but it looks okay in hand, does it?
I like them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a sucker for like armor and armored
Yeah.
figures, so
Yeah, what's the armor made out of? Does it look metal?
it's it was like it's metal. It's kind of like light metal, like metal, I guess.
Yeah, that's the way this thing is. I mean, the Aragorn, all the metal pieces I think are actual metal, but this Sting, it feels metal, but you can flex it, and it, you can tell it's not
Jesus.
metal.
Don't do that.
I can't help myself.
Was that for your Frodo?
Yeah, for my Frodo.
Ah, so they've cheaped out because mine's definitely metal.
Yeah, but
Mine's a flexible metal piece. Maybe I'm definitely sending an email.
the weapons are
Yeah.
all the weapons I've had are metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I said. The Frodo and the Galadriel, not the Frodo, the Aragorn and the Galadriel I have were so impressive that's what made me finally order the Frodo, because before that I was like, oh, I don't want these. They're terrible sculpts or whatever.
Mm.
And then once you get them in hand, they're always a lot better than you thought, but there's also a lot left on the plate. You know
You
what I
can't
mean?
really go wrong with these guys because they have a generic elven face.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I have for the next shot, I have Gimli, and then which I think is like probably their best
The best
figure
one, dude.
Yeah.
that Asmus has
yeah.
made.
Definitely.
I think it's like up there with Hot Toys quality.
I
almost.
also think that's why Gandalf is so high. I think they do so good on the hair, and obviously characters like that, so much of the face is covered in hair that it doesn't, that you can get away with a little bit
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
facial
Yeah.
expression.
Yeah.
But I have Gimli coming this week. I have Aragorn already, and I have Legolas on pre-order. So
Yeah, I'm holding off on Aragorn
Why-
and
why did-
Legolas.
Why have Asmus to this date not put the standard Legolas on their website?
They want
weird,
you to
because
buy
I
an
was gonna-
exclusive, baby.
that's
Yeah,
a good
'cause I was gonna
question because
order the
it
standard
wasn't
one.
on there.
No.
I think
'Cause
it
I
was.
ordered from Big
I think
Bad.
it sold out first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
That might have been a situation.
because I don't think
Because it was
people
so much
wanted.
cheaper.
It was cheaper,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people, the archway is too tall for like
yeah, I wouldn't. I
detox
wouldn't
and
want
stuff
to,
like
yeah.
that.
So I was tempted to pick up the standard edition, but I never saw it on there. So it may be that it sold out.
But that's the
instantly, and-
thing. I'm holding off on these last two figures, the Aragorn and Legolas, because Asmus does have sales every so often. So
Yeah, and they've got
Just
both
being
versions
patient.
of Aragorn on there.
Yeah.
With or without the diorama, but the Legolas, I never saw it on there.
I think
odd,
I paid 170 shipped on Amazon, not Amazon, eBay for Aragorn, and that's the reason I got him. I didn't think 170 shipped was a bad price at all. I mean, I think that was after
No,
taxes.
that's good. It's good.
So
But I also have the Gandalf, but I'm be shipping that to Mark when he's ready.
yeah, as soon as that,
Mark, you better hurry up, bro.
I know.
I'm finna snake
I'm getting
out from you.
I'm getting nervous. Yeah.
Pete, tell us about your collection here.
Yeah, so I started off with Aragorn, so that's the ACI. So ACI had the license for 1/6 Lord of the Rings before Asmus picked it up. So they made Aragorn, they made the Witch King, they made Ringwraith, they made a Ringwraith with Steed. They looked good, but they had very floppy bodies. But the Aragorn I think was amazing. I've never been a fan of the Asmus face sculpts. I think the latest one is better, but for me the ACI one beats it. I mean, there's some brilliant. I've just seen some amazing custom ones recently, but you're looking at to get it painted and haired, and by this, you're looking at £300, easy. So I think I'm going to hold back on that. So I had him first, and then I think I I started picking up some of the sideshow figures. So I picked up Boromir, Legolas, Gandalf, because you could get them quite cheap, and with a little bit of customization stuff, they didn't look too bad. Then I think I got Frodo. When they did the Slims, I bought Frodo and Sam. Then I got Gimli. Then Boromir, I got a really good deal and upgraded to the Asmus one. And actually, the sideshow one wasn't bad, but the outfit on Boromir is really nice. The Asmus one, and there's two versions. There's the haired version. There's the sculpted one. The hair isn't bad actually. Once you do a bit of futzing on it, I would definitely go for it over the sculpted hair. Then Legolas, again, I got a good deal on that. I got the one with the cave troll head, which I sold on. So I think he ended up costing me about £100. If you look on there, so the thing that with that, the face sculpt's not too bad, but the hair's really horrible because it's a plastic moulded hair, and it was really yellow as well. So what I did here was I bought, I think it was like an elf. A lady elf, just a generic head sculpt off eBay, and took the back of the head off with all the hair, and just kind of, it's quite easy because the face comes off on the Asmus sculpt. I kind of just put it together, so I've got, with the rooted hair, he looks so much better. Gimli, yeah, he's probably their best out of the box. I think all you need to do, I said to you guys that the neck peg's a bit too long, so if you drop his neck down a bit. And he probably needs a little bit of padding around his waist, and he's pretty much perfect. And then the Gandalf, so that is the first release from Asmus, but the sculpt was pretty horrible on that, and it had a plastic beard. So that is a recast of one of the Magneto figures, which Ian painted for me, and then I added all the hair. Which I think turned out brilliantly, and obviously with the staff, I stuck a couple of LEDs in under the crystal there. So that's not Photoshop. That does light up.
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
Yeah, and you can't really
That
see it
looks
here,
cool.
but
So cool.
Sting has been coated with like a glow in the dark
Oh yeah.
paint, so that kind of glows up quite nicely. The Hobbits are stock. All I've added here was a couple of the swords because Merry and Pippin don't come with swords, so I think one's a Jack Sparrow dagger and one's from a Coup Models figure that I had. But yeah, so the diorama was this is what I've always wanted to do with the Fellowship. This has been my dream to have this. And when I got my Billy bookcases, I finally had the space to do it. So I got a guy in the UK to build the base. So we've got Balin's tomb there. It's got the runes on it and everything. He's brilliant with stone and everything, so that was all made.
Where did the book come from?
That's from the sideshow Gandalf.
Oh, really?
The exclusive one came with the book.
Oh,
so
cool.
yeah, and then we played around with this for ages. So I've got some sort of fallen pillars. We've got books from pages from the books which he printed, and they've got all the text on and everything. And then Dean Gladwell at Backdrops and Bases, who we're gonna probably have some sort of sponsorship thing with on OFAC. He did the back and the sides. I just absolutely love it. As much as I've got all my Star Wars stuff, this is the shelf that my eye goes to straight away, because it's not just a collection of figures from a movie. It is a scene with
Yeah.
and I couldn't have. It's better than I could have ever imagined it turning out. I absolutely love it. It's so good.
So I always love seeing this when you show it.
That has to be rewarding to
Beautiful.
finally get those many pieces.
Yeah, I always
And
wanted
that's,
the Fellowship, and like you said, like the first issues of the Hobbit heads, I couldn't justify them. But when they brought out the second version, then they brought out the Slims. I just ordered them all up from Asmus, and they're they're okay. They're better in hand than you would imagine. The thing I would like, although you've got to buy a whole figure, is the Mouth of Sauron figure comes with the Mithril shirt. So I'm always on the lookout for one of those quite cheap. I think he's not too bad. It's about $150 on Asmus.
I was just going to ask you. So your Frodo didn't come with a mithril coat.
No, the original
Mine-
did. I think
Mine did.
it did. So what is going on?
That is so weird.
Yeah, because I'd like to have that. But
Well, Pete, I don't really want it. So
no.
if
Oh, wow.
I'll figure out how to ship it to you
Yeah,
the cheapest
yeah,
way. I don't know what
we'll talk,
25% on free is, but
Well, it doesn't
Or
matter
you
'cause
guys-
if you
it's a weight.
if you depending on how you mark it on the customs thing.
It's
it'll
a
be,
gift.
I'll say it's a
that's beautiful.
postcard or something.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Oh, lovely. That's nice.
Wow.
That's, yeah, that'd be
Beautiful moment
fantastic.
lives.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, this isn't quite canon because they've all got their Lothlorien capes on, which they didn't get until after here. Aragorn is wearing Boromir's gauntlets, but Boromir still has his on because he's still alive by this point. But I don't care. And obviously, and Legolas has got his Lothlorien bow there. He's
Pete,
got the
there's one
shorter
on
bow on
there's
his
one on
back,
eBay right now for $28
Oh, okay.
with $6 shipping also.
Well,
Well, I mean,
I'll-
it can't cost that much to ship. I mean, it's got to weigh, an ounce.
yeah,
so-
it won't cost.
It's
too
light
much.
as a
It'd be-
feather,
it'd be-
you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
And it's
Yeah.
strong as dragon skin.
Strong as dragon skin.
Yeah, we'll chat, Mark. That's very generous
Yeah.
of you, mate. Yeah.
What a guy. Let's move on to the main topic, the One Ring. Mark, tell us about the creation of the ring.
All right. Well, the creation of the ring, Sauron disguised himself as Anatar, which was like this has a very biblical, things connect here, where he pretty much made himself. He was beautiful. He looked elvish. He talked Celeborn, which was the main forger for the elves. He talked them into making these magical rings. So they started out, they made the 9 rings for the mortal men, the 7 rings for the dwarves. Well, at this point, that's when Sauron left and had put his plan into place to put control on all these rings. So then that's when they made the 3 elvish rings. So then the 3 elvish rings weren't connected at all. So then he went to the cracks of Mount Doom, made the One Ring. The One Ring is the only ring that doesn't have a gem on it. And I always thought that was kind of neat how they did that. He has the Mordor writing on it, but it's the only one without a gem. So then he comes back, and then at this point the rings were dispersed, or locked up, or away. So then he tortures Celeborn, and then so then he gets the 9 mortal rings, and then the 7 dwarven rings, gives them to the dwarves, but could never get the 3 rings from the elves. So at this point, no point in the whole books and in the movies he ever knew where the elven rings were, which I always thought was cool, but they don't really tell you that in the movie.
Yeah.
So then Celeborn was tortured to death, and then at that point, the 9 men were corrupt. We all know. The 7 dwarves. The dwarves were resistant to the ring, which I always thought was cool, but they don't talk about that either. So theoretically, they could have gave the ring to Gimli, and he could have, I guess he could have wore the ring, I guess. And then, where was I at?
The 3 Elven?
Yeah, the 3 elven rings.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, the 3 elven rings. Gandalf had one, which is the Ring of Honor, which was the Ring of Fire. So it was always cool in the movie. He always was the one who brought the light. You saw the awesome scene with the fell beast, where he ran him off and brought Faramir back. I always thought that was cool. He lit up the mines of Moria, but they in the books and in the movies, it never shows it shows him. Nobody knew he had the ring until the end, and it was cool that the elven rings were invisible. So the other rings made you invisible, and then the elven rings made the wearer made the ring invisible, and I always thought that was cool. So I wanted to talk about that, And then another thing I wanted to bring up, and this was a cool story, and I don't want to go on too long about this. And this was about Isildur, because in the book they just make it seem like, I mean, in the movie they just made it seem like he was a prick who happened to cut the ring off. He didn't listen to anybody, and he just walked around like the cock with the walk. I mean, he's got that shit face on him the whole time.
Yeah.
But anyway, in the book, not in that book, in the Unlost Tales, there is a beautiful story. If you go into Unlost Tales, and they talk about the tragedy of this man's life, because he is headed to Rivendell to get his wife and his other son, and then that's when they get overrun by the
orcs.
I'm sorry, and then they call it the disaster at Gladden Field. So Elendor, his son, asked him to use the ring to get away. And he said, I can't use it. I dread the pain of using it. Because it was literally, the ring burned him when it first happened. At that point, Sauron just lost his power. So at that point, the ring's still very powerful, still tied to Sauron. Because of, the whole, his soul is tied to the ring. His life is tied to the ring. So he said it pains him to touch it. So he never wore the ring until he put it on at that moment. And he said, he says, I have not found the strength to bend it to my will. It needs one greater than I know myself to be. My pride has fallen. It should go to the keepers of the three. So he knew the keepers of the three, which was in Rivendell.
Elves.
The three elves, Gandalf, Galadriel, and Elrond. But later on, when they were overrun and they had him trapped down, his son Elendor told his father, as his last counselor, go take your burden and at all cost take it to the keepers, even at the cost of abandoning your own men and including me. So his son told him, take the ring and go. Don't worry about us. So literally, he had to leave his son to die. So this is a guy that he realized he fucked up. Yeah. He had to take the ring to somebody that he could trust with it. 3 elven rings. His son literally gave up his life for him to run. So he goes into the water. He comes out of the water with the ring lost, and then that's when he gets shot. Very much in the movie, it just shows like, okay, this guy, as soon as there was trouble, he took off and got shot in the back. So I thought that was such a beautiful story. Everybody has to read it. I didn't articulate it very well, but man, it is.
It's interesting with the ring. Yeah, it's interesting with the ring because watching the movie, it doesn't really explain. Like the ring isn't really explained that well in the movie, but how the ring it kind of has a mind of its own. Like it will change sizes if it wants to leave who is holding it, and that's what happens in the movie. I don't know about the Lost Tales, but he's swimming with the ring and the ring expands, and then he basically
leave him.
He loses it. And one thing also that's important to remember about the ring is like the act of obtaining the ring kind of decides, like, not necessarily like, I guess it kind of like decides your fate with the ring. So Isildur gets the ring by basically killing Sauron, and so his act is like a murderous act. And then same with
Smeagol.
Smeagol. And the reason why Bilbo and Frodo aren't as affected negatively is because Bilbo's first act with the ring is like sort of an act of kindness. Like he chooses not to kill Gollum. And that's why the ring doesn't affect him as much as it affects Gollum. And that's why Frodo is able to kind of freely decide to give it up as well, because he's given the ring. He doesn't have to like.
And he takes it reluctantly, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't have as much hold over them. I did want to show this slide here. So we have the Dwarf Lords with their rings, and then the different human rings, the 9 human rings. They're all unnamed. Same with the Dwarf Lords. They're just like the dwarf clan leaders. And those, the men...
Well, one of the
kings,
dwarfs
they named 3 of them. 3 of them are Numenorians in the books, but that doesn't really matter. To the story, it doesn't really matter. The Witch King is
Yeah, so we'll get there in a
Was-
second. So these are the kings become the Nazgul, and then the witch king of Angmar. I think it's like
Angbar,
Yeah.
Angmar.
Angmar is the
one of those
kind of
three.
like the leader of the Nazgul.
Mhm.
So here we have the one ring to rule them all, and then the three rings. So Nara, fire is Ruby, Gilgalad, then Círdan, then Gandalf, and Gandalf's given that when he arrives to Middle Earth. Then Nanya from water, which is Galadriel's ring, and then
and that's
Vilya.
and real
I got a
quick on
question.
Elrond's ring. His ring is what gives him healing powers. So everybody talks about like,
Mhm.
oh, only we have to go to Rivendell. Only Rivendell can fix Frodo's wounds and stuff like that. So a lot of those healing powers comes from that ring. And Galadriel's ring gives her vision, so that's why she's pouring into the water, and that's why she says, you know, your quest hangs on the edge of a knife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's cool because it shows all their powers in the movies, but it doesn't explain it. Which I mean, they're already 13-hour trilogy, so you know.
We obviously don't. It doesn't say. It doesn't go into anything about the
Right.
powers of the 7 or the 9.
Yeah, so I misspoke when I said the dwarf names are not known. It's the ring names and the stones. So
Yeah.
the dwarven ones are kind of the ones that are most fleshed out, and then same with the 9 rings, the ring names and the stones and powers.
Well,
are
one of the
basically
dwarves
unknown.
was Thorn's grandfather.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And 4 of the rings were eaten by dragons.
Oh yeah, dragons.
The other 3 rings were lost, and in the books, they go. The part of the reason why the dwarves went back into Moria, other than just going in
So
for,
look for them, right?
Mithril, was to look for those 3 rings.
Gotcha.
I heard there's more unknown rings, right?
Yeah, well, after they all left, they still made. That's what they talk about in the. If you read the books, they talk about to the dwarves about Sauron's looking for this lesser ring. They don't want to tell him that he's looking for the one ring, because after all these rings are made, the elves continue to make rings. But that's why whenever you hear in any book you read lesser rings, it's the rings that were created after that have no tie to the one ring. So there are magical
Yeah.
rings, and that's also why Gandalf didn't think at first that Bilbo had the ring, because he knew Bilbo had the magic ring. You know, if there was only X amount of rings, he would have been able to easily tell, okay, that's the one ring. There's no other magical rings.
I got a question.
Yo.
Hit me.
What did Galadriel say to Sauron when he asked for her ring?
Nah, bitch.
None of your damn business.
Oh.
I was wondering where you're going with that. I was like, that wasn't in the books.
Sorry,
Let's,
go on.
Let's look at the different ring bearers throughout the ages, and we'll go through like a graphic. So we have
Timeline.
Sauron, obviously, Isildur, Deagle, Gollum / Smeagol, Bilbo, Frodo, Sam, and then back to Frodo. And Mark, you want to talk about the destruction of the ring and what happened to it? What do you got for me?
What did I want to talk about with the destruction of the ring?
I don't know. You tell me. You put it on the sheet.
Did I?
You did.
Look at the sheet.
We could skip that if you want to, but I just added the slide. For that
Oh,
reason.
once the rings were destroyed, there was a lot of talk about Galadriel saying, I will go to the west and I will remain Galadriel. Because a lot of the talk was, do the rings then lose their power? The other rings? And in the
I believe
movies,
so.
yeah, they lose their powers. But that's why at the very end scene, when they go sail out west to the Undying Lands, that's the only time you actually see Gandalf with his ring. Because the rings were invisible before that, and at that point they became visible to everybody. And it's the same in the books. The same in the books, they say, the dwarves ask, "Oh, what about the 3 elven rings? Can't we use them?" And they say, "Oh no, they're secret." Well, it's like, damn, they're secret because two of the motherfuckers in the thing have them. So they had the rings, but they didn't tell anybody. So nobody knew other than the 3 that bore the rings. Nobody knew about the elven rings except the 3 that wore them, and I always thought that was interesting. So literally,
So-
those are the only 3 rings that were in use the whole time, and nobody knew about it.
So this statue is not inaccurate to have Gandalf without the ring, right?
No, that's why I asked, because I didn't know if it was an add-on, because it would just be him going to the Undying Lands.
Okay, I have a real question.
God damn it, Danny. Just kidding.
No, this is a real question.
Yeah.
So, since the ring, when the One Ring, Sauron's ring, was destroyed, does that mean that, like Elrond, Galadriel, did they lose their powers?
They lost the powers of the ring.
No, but did they, like, is
No,
Elrond
just
no longer able to heal and
they
control
already
the
had
water?
powers, but at
Or the
that point,
wind?
yeah, they lost power.
Okay.
And that's why they said that their fate was tied to that ring. That if, let's say, Sauron won, then he at some point, because they were even though they were resistant to the ring, that they would have lost the power. Which is interesting too, because now that you mention it, okay, the three rings weren't made by him, so they weren't controlled underneath the ring.
Mm.
But at the same point, the ring loses their power when it's destroyed. That might be a book plot hole. Now that
But
you
didn't
mention
they-
that.
Yeah, it
Didn't
sounds
they
a bit-
only
yeah.
put the rings on after Sauron lost it?
No, they always had the rings on, but that's why he couldn't see them. Normally, if let's say the other rings, if you put them on, he could see you at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why.
But
they
that's
never
what was so
wore 'em, right?
interesting about the Elving rings, that you don't become invisible when you put them on. The ring becomes invisible, so it was easier to hide them. So when the dwarves were wearing them, he knew where the rings were. When the men wore them, he obviously knew where they were, because then he controlled the men.
Yeah. Let's look at the timeline of the ring, and maybe we can also take some questions from people after they hear this episode. We can answer them. So the ring had 7 ring bearers over 4,860 years. In SA 1600, the One Ring is forged. 93 years later, the War of Elves and Sauron begins. 4 years later, Eregion is destroyed.
Eregion.
Eregion, there you go, is destroyed and Khazad-dûm is closed. In 1700 SA, the forces of Sauron are defeated by the Númenóreans and he retreats to Mordor. And for 1840 years, he allows himself to be taken prisoner by the Númenóreans. And that ends in 3262, so quite a bit of time there. In SA 3441, Sauron is defeated and Isildur takes the One Ring. October 4th of that year, or I'm sorry, of the Third Age 2.
So just under 2 years.
Yeah. Death of
Yeah.
Isildur in the Battle of the Gladden Fields. The One Ring is lost in the River Anduin. And during this time that it's lost, I think Sauron and Gandalf are under the impression that it kind of flows to the ocean, right? Like they have no
Yeah.
idea where it's at, and
Sa-
it's assumed to be lost.
Saruman told the council not to look for the ring, that there's no point, it is lost.
But he was secretly looking for
But he
it.
was secretly looking for it the
Motherfucker.
whole time. Yeah, son of a bitch.
Dick, dude.
So everybody talks about how Saruman, how long was he evil? Well, at that point, he was already conniving. And it's the same reason why Gandalf never told him about the Bilbo having the magical ring, because something always held him back.
Yeah. Now, the ring is lost for 2,461 years. And in the Third Age, year 2463, Deagle discovers the One Ring and is killed by Smeagol, who claims it for his own. Gollum has the ring for 47 years. Wait, 478 or 47?
Yeah.
It was like
478.
480.
470.
Yeah, it was like
Okay, yeah.
480 years.
Okay, the font's really weird. 478 years. I'm sorry. I was like, damn, that motherfucker didn't have it that long. Saruman discovers Sauron's servants are searching the Gladden Fields for the One Ring. In the Third Age, 2941, Bilbo Baggins finds the ring in the cave. 3 years later, Gollum leaves the Misty Mountains and begins searching for the ring. And that obviously takes a while. In the Third Age, 3001, Bilbo freely gives up the ring and it passes to Frodo. And 18 years later, so it doesn't really go
What's
through
it-
that much time in the movies, but
Yeah.
18 years later, Gollum seizes the ring from Frodo and falls into the cracks of Mount Doom. The One Ring is destroyed and Sauron is defeated.
Yeah, and that's another thing people don't realize. There's 17 years between Bilbo's party and when Frodo sets out.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why it's
Crazy.
18 years. And it
Yeah.
takes about a year for Frodo to get...
Yeah. From the Shire to Mount Doom.
Yes.
See, that the Golem game could take place between 2944 and 3001.
And
Dude,
so a
that'd
lot
be
of,
fucking
and,
dope.
and for
I
people
think
that
that's
don't...
actually exactly where it's going to take
Yeah,
place.
Yeah.
people don't know about the ages. It's like the Second Age starts when the ring is forged. And then the Second Age ends when he's defeated. So the whole third age is he's defeated, and then the end of the third age is when the ring is destroyed. So whenever you're talking about ages, it's always easy to remember that. It's like
Yeah.
a biblical term. So.
We do have some homework for you guys if you want to be able to kind of get into Lord of the Rings a bit more. On Spotify, now this is also an Apple podcast, but I found Spotify to be the best place to listen to this. You can look up the Phil Dragish audiobooks. He has one for each of the trilogy, or each of the novels of the original trilogy, and these are more like radio dramas. They're voice acted music, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful books, and he has them for the original trilogy, and you can listen to it for free. I haven't heard any commercials, so I think because it's like uploaded as a podcast, there's no commercials. But if you want to read the books in the best quality and you don't want to actually physically read, but you want to just kind of have them in the background, this is a great way to listen to it. We'll put the link to this in the episode description. But these are just absolutely fantastic
That's what I've been
ways
doing.
Yeah.
yeah
And
to listen to the trilogy.
It skips very tiny things. You know, it's a tiny bit edited, and obviously it doesn't have the appendices. But I mean, as far as people that want the experience of reading the book, but also the entertainment of it's if you close your eyes, it's like watching a movie. The guy does a fantastic
Yeah.
job.
Their episode 2, I think we're going to focus maybe on some characters, maybe on the actual Fellowship of the Ring book itself. But yeah, I think we had a great first episode. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah. Other than me stuttering and
I mean, you kind of fucked it up, to be honest.
yeah,
Just kidding.
I got to work on my reading a little bit. But yeah, I'm real excited for this podcast. I think it'll be good once I get the run of things. But
Yeah.
so next episode, definitely we're going to be focusing on the Fellowship, difference between book and movie,
Mhm.
and then I think we really need to concentrate on Gandalf because you got me
Yeah. Dude.
Maya'd up.
Horde for Gandalf.
Yeah,
I did a futzing stream on the Joy of Hobbing on our YouTube channel. If you want to check that out, it's kind of like a fun little stream. We kind of go through this statue and I kind of fix some things on it, some paint, some fabric stuff. It's a fun little stream. Pete, can we say thank you to the Patreonies who keep the channel going, please?
Yeah, we sure can, yeah. Sean Fear, Ian Seaby, Rena Mendez, Eric Mariscal, Quinn Aguirre, Leah Hernandez, King Louis, Mark Pearson, Paul Schreiber, James Cully, Joao Brader,
Jean.
Danny Lee, sweet Danny Lee, Dinny Martin, Stephen Krepp, Big Fern, King Zach, Caesar Marroquin, Mike Cruz, Lisa Martin Bermondsky, Rick Di Gregorio, Alvin Jules, The Everyday Collector,
Whoop whoop!
Ricardo
Whoa.
Valdez, Bowler Boyd, Jimmy James, Mario Cortez, Stephen Purchase, Sean Yahtzee, Scott Bradley, Stephen Maria Stanley, Jessica Contreras, Eddie Manzanares, Joe Corpus, and Mr. and Mrs. JB. We thank you all very much.
Bunch of angels. We have
Yeah.
2 stickers for August. I know in July we kind of sent the whole lot of stickers that we got, but 2 stickers for August. We have the crispy sticker with the kind of the Coke style font, and then we have the Holy Mac John sticker. Beautiful.
Yeah.
We have 3 tiers. The Sweet Angel, $5 a month. Sticker sent straight to your door. Access to Ox After Dark. The $15 certified crispy tier. You get the certificate, assistance with figure fixes. We also have the What a Guy tier, the 18 by 24 silhouette poster, and doubles of all the stickers we send. This tier is changing. It's effective already. But if you are, or if you were in this tier rather, and you want to take advantage of Ian's painting services, you have until the end of October to take advantage of that. We are looking into options of what to replace that with. Some options include perhaps an annual hat design that we send out to people in this tier. We also had some other sort of digital ideas. So if you're a What a Guy and you want to give us some suggestions, send me a message or an email, zach@collectingweekly.com, and we will, hopefully by October, we'll announce what will replace that in this tier.
Cool.
We have TeePublic, teepublic.com/collectingweekly. You can buy your favorite show's logo on a t-shirt of your choice. Prices start at $13 when they're on sale. Regular price is $20. As far as the network goes, we have Small Talk, Collecting Weekly Live, OFAC, Live and Let Dice, our new and renewed Dungeons and Dragons podcast, which is filming mid-August. In and Outs of Collecting, Collecting Weekly Clips, Ox Plays, After Dark, CW Live, and you're watching the One Ring podcast. Join us on Facebook at Collecting Weekly Auxiliary, and you can get in on all the fun off air. Mark, thank you for having us tonight. I think we had a great show. Definitely, we got to get your feet wet with the hosting thing. I know we kind of threw you into the fire today, but I think we did great. I think we had a great show.
Yeah.
Definitely a great primer episode for this,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to film episode 2.
Well, I appreciate your guys' support so much. I mean, you wouldn't think it watching me talk, but there is so much work and hard work by the other 3 guys in here, and so much respect and love, and
Mostly Zach. But,
yeah. And I would love to thank Zach for the he put the music together, he put the logo together, he put the show sheet in, and I mean all the clips and stuff real quick. I put a lot of work into this, and it literally did absolutely nothing for this episode.
Also,
but I will work on that.
If you're a July Patreon, in your package that is going out on Monday, you'll have the one Ringcast holographic sticker, very limited edition, only 50 made. So
nice.
Stay tuned for that. Danny, send us home.
Namari.